Hello and welcome to another episode of Alan Writes. This is probably episode 30. We're going to move on with chapter 8. Not that the chapters themselves really matter in terms of number. It is just a number. Something to keep track of and partition and, of course, remove if you feel like it. If you want to have it one flowing entirely chapter 1 without any breaks, that's an artistic decision. But enough about that. I just had a little bit of insight when trying to figure out the rebels that she's going to meet. She is going to meet the rebels from Hoth again. They had her datapad, sliced it, and obtained all her info. She proved to be a good target. For recruitment / blackmail. All right. Finara went back to work. Not at her workstation. Her clearance had yet to be returned. Even Telek couldn't. Not even Telek. Telek refused to grant that before the ISB allowed it specifically. Apparently he didn't want to ruffle feathers. Feathers or ridges. Okay. So she went in for light work. Checking old designs, annotating observations with her own. Nothing critical, nothing new. 3 weeks of it. 3 long weeks of it. Every day she'd go boring, except for the first day. When she walked through the scanners. Maybe I want to do this. Yeah, I want to do this still first. Went back to work. Let's let this sink in. Went back to work. Early in the morning, she went in through the scanners. She went in, and a mad beeping erupted from the went back to work. Early in the morning, pre-calf. She stepped inside and set her satchel. No purse, a satchel. Set her satchel on the conveyor. There was no one else. In line. A mad beeping erupted from the archway as she passed under. Sleepy-eyed, security men, security guards roused themselves to step over. That's a big piece of metal. Metal you're hiding. Thankfully, one of them was familiar. A woman she'd spoken with several times. At the calf dispenser. That's a big piece of metal you're carrying. Another woman said, and settled a hand on her blaster. Okay, yeah. So security guards are security guards. I mean, they may just be guarding a building, and it may just be a job, but that doesn't mean they're not trained and not, well, motivated and to take things in hand. That's a big piece you're hiding. Finara patted herself down. Oh, it's the leg. She said. Realization. Leg? Yeah. I've got a new one. Isn't that in my file? Is that in my file? She asked. Hold on. Show me. Finara pulled up her pant leg to reveal the metallic sheen of her new and improved new leg. They'd offered her skin tones. They'd offered her skin tones to dull things, but she needed the reminder. This was not the sort of thing she ever wanted to forget. This loss. Wow, that's metal. Yeah. They offered different models. Went with this one, she said. The security woman. Alright. With an L, probably. The security woman motioned her over to a recessed nook, while her companions stood watch. Normal procedure. Just like when she'd and you forgot to leave an internal com behind. Everything going to run a check. Her companions, her companions sat up and took notice. All right, Laffy, and call over. Like a file update. Looks like a file update. Won't be long, she said, and it won't be, right? You got this cleared and everything? Got this cleared and everything? First day back after the accident, she said. Finara said. Lathy said and looked at the accident. Can't say anything more. Can't say anything. Oh, one of those. Fine, fine. I only work here. Lathy replied, with a smile that said, with a grin, the twitch of lips that said otherwise. If she wasn't heading, okay, if she wasn't soaring toward promotion, then it was a waste of talent. Let's see. Finara underwent a deep scan. Just like when you forgot anything electronic that crossed the bounds to be inspected. Her leg was apparently no exception. I spent a few minutes in scan time at the computer station. At last she nodded. System update was a little slow, or not priority. Your leg checks out. Your leg checks out. Not priority for someone. Not a priority. Reason. Your leg checks out. security isn't a priority? Security isn't a priority? Finara asked. Not to, file maintenance. Should have been flagged. Especially for your first day back. Finara nodded at that, then thought, maybe this was for a reason. Maybe hadn't been flagged to remind her of what she lost. More charitably, it could be because she needed to know the new procedure. There had to be one. Be one for cybernetic. There had to be one for cybernetic limbs. They couldn't remove it from her and expect her to work. And what was the alternative? Need to look at your. I need to look at your. Do they? Microprocessors. Do I need a full scan? Full scan time I come in? Finara asked. Afraid so. As long as you're on temporary work anyway. Okay. Temp work anyway. When you're finally cleared. You'll only be subject to random checks. That's temp work? Athe printed out an intern badge. Passed it over. No one mentioned this? Your clearance is still pending. Pending release. As a reminder, stay to the designated areas. Stay to the designated areas. But my workstation. Yeah. Designated areas. Matthew replied. Stay only designated. Not my decision. It is, but it is my job. Finara headed in and grabbed an internal comm. The badge headed in and grabbed an internal comm. Telex number was a familiar one, but she had to program the she had to well, she's going to have to do a little bit of slicing, but she had to evade the ram the thing, or it would let her connect. Interns did not just talk to project directors, regardless of their open hatch policy. Telok, she said through the comm. Said into the comm. It's Finara. I can't get to my workstation. I know. Been trying to clear it with ISB all morning. They're stubborn. Telok replied, despite it being just before post. It's still being. Admittedly, that meant he either had roused late or was going to leave. But still, this wasn't all morning. This will take time. I do, until then, show the interns how a real engineer does things. Telok said, think of it as a leadership exercise. It's not why I'm here, Finara said, and then coughed. An apology. No, sorry. I'll do it. I'm not happy because I'm not working. I've got ideas for the AT-AT and its successor. Successor? Telok asked. How do you know about that? Every model has a successor. Every successful model has a successor. Finara said as she made her way to the calf dispenser. 1 cup, black. 1 cup, black. She left her father's mug, swallowed it up. Swallowed it up. And she poured in sugar and cream for 2. that what this was all about? Darby and the 6 to the ANAT? What? This is not the way to discuss. This is not the way to discuss this. Not replied. When you have your clearance, we'll talk then. You cut the comm, and when she checked, he had blocked her number. So, no workstation. So, no workstation. He headed to the intern cubes and found a few eager beers knuckling down for what passed as work for them. Brave Tellock would not even buck the ISB in well, we'd use the Roman pro forma, not de facto, de jure, de facto, would not even try to wiggle around the ISB on her clearance. She could think there were at least 3 to go about that at his level. So no work today for what passed his work. Checking old designs, annotating personal observations, rectifying old designs with new materials and methods, for things that would never be updated. It was beneath her. She could offer so much, and they didn't want it. Not until the bureaucracy, that is not how you spell bureaucracy, bureaucracy had its say. If it was up to her, she would have streamlined. She would have winnowed the digital work. Winnowed the digital work down through an airlock. Nonetheless, she settled in. She settled in. She pushed aside her chair and settled in. The day passed. The intern manager Cotton. No, Charton. Martin something. Came by once to tell her to use an ergonomic seat. But she flashed the other woman a stare that settled her back down. That sent her scurrying. The bringer of interruptions, scurrying off. No doubt a protest would be made, but then Finara wasn't an intern. The woman didn't return. And when the records were checked, but then Finara wasn't an intern, and if in no doubt when records were checked, the uselessness of discipline, of chair discipline. Slowly. When it was time, Finara went home. Accepting the full scan on the way out. Initiating the full scan on her way out. Lathy had updated her fellows, and there was no hassle with it. The leg was the leg, and she was allowed to go home. Home. Cart food, entertainment, cart food, and then bed. But she couldn't sleep. It was too early for that. And so, nope. Cart food. And then maintenance. Then late maintenance. A series of boring exercises. And then leg maintenance. A series of boring exercises. Extremely boring. a repetition of movements meant to assist her hip in incorporating the artificial limb. Bacta was metal didn't like flesh, and Bacta was expensive. Bacta to fix those problems. She watched the news as she worked out. The usual stories of oh God, of some the usual stories of some committee announcing something. A little story about a woman who had contacted Emperor about how her hood was sinking into a swamp. Success. Stop her neighborhood from sinking into a swamp. That system called Bespin had been incorporated into the Empire, though like as not to be handed over to the Mining Guild. The Mining Guild. Soon enough, because the Empire valued nothing about Hoth. Nothing about the rebellion, for that matter, other than the usual criminal reports. They were out there, she thought, as she up a sweat. A dull ache of pain arising from her hip. Exercises were almost done. The rebels were not. They could build things like the grandfather gun. They fought AT-ATs, sometimes on foot. And why were there no stories stories about all this, about the real dangers they faced. Oh, it wouldn't do to make a panic of things. But when people knew the extent of the problem, then they could fix it. If you were oblivious, then nothing went wrong. Then nothing. It wouldn't be good. If you were oblivious, then only when things went terribly wrong would you take notice, and then it would be too late. No, I don't like the grammar on that. I'm playing around with grammar. Panic. Still got panic. For 3 weeks. She went, she stopped the workout. Cleaned up and went to bed. Tomorrow would be another day. Tomorrow she might get her clearance back. Instead, it was 3 weeks. And we'll flip on over to another scene. Another mini scene within the scene. This is her getting back to work. Telek will welcome her in. She gets to go back to doing the thing that she loves. And then we'll pop her bubble with the rebels. As with the thriller, we have some ups and some downs, and now she's really going to be into it, because these rebels are not going to simply give her the options. They can, in fact, ruin her life more than the ISB tried. But their methods were small. The rebels know what they're doing with this, because to the rebels, Finara is a great resource. With potential vast access to data. With the ISB, they were just checking our loyalty, more as a sop to Telek than anything else. So anyway, this has been Alan Rice. I hope you've enjoyed this. We're moving along on the plot. It's messy, and I don't describe a lot. We're obviously going to have to puff up the sections with a lot of descriptions, inner thoughts, and some additional dialogue. Not too much more dialogue, but some more stuff that really hits home, that's really fun, that zings and sings. But again, that's for the second draft. The first draft is just marking things out. It's sometimes a little better than an outline. Perhaps in some ways it is an outline. You just keep expanding an outline until it becomes a full-fledged story. I guess that's probably a method of writing. There's so many different methods of writing. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. Stay safe and take care out there. Thanks.